For those of you on Zoom, you're also welcome to submit a question. We do not have a chat enabled, but there's a cell phone number in the chat access. Please send any of your questions to that chat. Those questions are going straight to our question sorters to my side here, and they will organize all those questions. So it doesn't matter if you're still very much welcome to submit some questions. All right, I'm going to invite Grace Kwong to come on up here to do the pledge of allegiance and say that.
First, Anthony, your equal. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It is my pleasure to now introduce from the Task Area League of Voters, Tony Johnson, who will be moderating our debate tonight.
How's it sound?
No.
Too much.
Yeah.
Just let's see, let's try this way. Low. Yes, that's better. Yeah, good, okay. If it goes down too far, just wait the
Yeah, that's much.
okay. Welcome to the Pasadena City College Trustees Area Pride Forum. We thank the co-sponsor organization, South Pasadena Chinese American Club, and above all of you, the voters, for your participation. My name is Tony Johnson. I'm a volunteer with the Voters Pasadena area, which includes South Pasadena, San Bernardino, and General City. As three of the San Gabriel Valley communities that we serve, the League's mission is making democracy work by building a community engaged, informed, and participating voters. Facilitating candidate forums is one way we advance the goal in our communities. We study and act on public policy issues, but never endorse or support candidates or political parties. Before we begin, I would like to introduce the rest of the League team. In addition to me, we have Bonnie Spaulding, and she is the timekeeper. Quite some. Ladies, just she's got to weigh these things next. And we have Chris Olson and Joanne House. They're the question sorters. Here is an overview of the process and flow of the evening, and the rules of the forum, which have been agreed to by the candidates. First, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement. Candidates will speak in the order based on the numbers drawn randomly before the forum. The timekeeper will keep the candidates informed of the time remaining and will raise a red card when her time is elapsed. Once the candidate's time is up, she should conclude her statement as quickly as possible. And I've noticed in other forums that what the moderator does is that the person doesn't stop talking. She goes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. After opening statements, we are completed. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer submitted questions, and you will have done a wonderful job. We have a whole array of wonderful questions. The audience is invited to write more questions at any time during the forum. Look for runners who will be circulating through the room with cards and pencils and delivering your questions to the sorters. You just wave like this, and they'll give you a paper if you need it, or take it up to the sorters. Okay. The following rules apply to all questions. Only written questions will be accepted, and they must be in the form of a question and not a statement. They may be directed at one candidate or both. If to one candidate, the other may also answer. There will be no replies. If there are several questions on a similar issue, they may be grouped together. The card sorters are going to help with that. Questions must deal with the issues of this election. No personal reference or attacks will be allowed. All written questions asked or unasked remain the property of the legal and the voters of the Pasadena area. They are never distributed to the press or other third parties. They are destroyed as soon as the form is over. As stated earlier, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question and will be tracked by this time. At approximately 7:20, the question period will end and candidates' closing statements begin. Each candidate will have 1 minute. They will speak in the reverse order from the opening statements. There will be no rebuttals. We ask everyone to turn off their cell phone, turn or silence their cell phone to show respect for the candidates and other audience members. Are there any questions about the procedure? How we're doing this? Any questions? No? Okay. If not, we will begin with the opening statements. The first candidate to make an opening statement is Linda Kwong.
I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a lot of echo on this Zoom, so try not to be too loud because it echoes.
So, thank you. In 2010, I was asked by community leaders to run for the PCC board. 2010, I was asked by my community leaders to run for the PCC board. And I saw an opportunity to help our students succeed in their education goals by providing them with early college access to their colleges. I myself am a first-generation college graduate in my family, and I grew up in the Imperial Valley, far behind on the Mexican border. I came from a working class family of grocers and farmers, and I witnessed economic disparities where I found the value of education and how it could uplift our communities from poverty. I was given a chance for early college when I was in high school. I then entered college again as a traditional student graduating from high school, and then again as a non-traditional student as a single mother. I was also given a chance for an internship in college, which helped me start my workforce career in a highly competitive area of technology. These were experiences that shaped my understanding of the diverse spectrum of students we serve and their needs. My track record shows I'm effective working with my K-12 colleagues and legislators in getting resources and programs for our community. I am honored to be elected by my peers at PCC and California to represent them across the state and the nation, which has resulted in bringing millions of dollars of funding to our students. For the past 2 years, South Pasadena high school students have successfully completed 5 college classes while earning high school credit. One of my greatest badges of honor are the student endorsements and appreciation of support for their success, because their success should be the scorecard we all strive to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Kristine, would you like to give your opening statement?
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and the South Pasadena Chinese American Club for hosting tonight's forum. I'd also like to thank Ms. Kwong for attending tonight's forum as well. Thank you very much. My name is Kristine Kwong, and I'm running for Board of Trustee, Area 5 for Pasadena City College, representing the cities of South Pasadena, San Marino, and Temple City. I am running for 3 reasons. Number 1, we need to fix the current board dysfunction and ineffectiveness that currently exists in the Board of Trustees. For several years now, the board has worked at a dysfunctional and ineffective level.
It's easier to hold the mic up to your face.
I want to bring my experience as an education lawyer and an educator to raise the level of professionalism on the board. I want to give a level of professionalism to govern with honesty, govern with ethics, and more importantly, to govern with transparency. The second issue, we need to improve our academic climate. The success of our students is tethered on the ability of the board to work in a cooperative relationship with the faculty and the administration. For years, this relationship has been broken. I'm offering to mend that relationship, to build a new relationship of trust. build a new relationship of respect. And finally, we have to increase high quality dual enrollment. Students that participate in dual enrollment perform academically better in college, and they have a higher likelihood of going to college. And students need to have those opportunities. In South Pasadena and San Marino, they just started dual enrollment last year. In Temple City, there's no dual enrollment classes. I'm committed to advocate to expand those dual enrollment courses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First question goes to Kristine Kwong. The question is, how is PCC recovering from the impact of COVID? How will you help and support the students who were affected by this pandemic?
Thank you for the question. Due to the pandemic, enrollment has dropped by 30%. And that means 7,000 students are no longer enrolled in a community college. And a great majority of those students are Latinos and African Americans. And a great majority of those need to re-enroll. And the Board of Trustees currently have not set forth a plan on how to increase enrollment. And there is no plan along the way. Here's what I will do if I'm elected to Board of Trustees. Number one, I will advocate for debt forgiveness for these students. Students incur debt for a variety of reasons, and even minor debt prohibits low-income students from obtaining a college education. Let's forgive some of those debt. The average is between $41 and a few $100, and that could be a barrier to enrollment. Let's accommodate students that work a full-time schedule, and let's also use our revenue to sustain the same level of enforcement to bring students back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, as you know, COVID has changed everything for the last 2 years. And colleges across the entire nation have dropped in their enrollment. So PCC has been doing targeted outreach, and we've been seeing some success. So what are some of the reasons that students are not coming back? Some of them are because they can now have jobs, so they can help their families. There are financial reasons to support their families. And so one of the things we need to do is not only debt forgiveness, but we also have a 2-year college promise that helps them get that college for free. And in addition to that, the Chancellor's Office has just announced that we will do targeted outreach to those students who are near to college completion. So we are finding greater success. We're finding more students who we can accommodate their schedules, we can deliver education in the mode that they feel best fits their needs. So these are just some of the ways that we are outreaching to our students, and they are responding. We expect to have recovery soon, in the next year or two. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is, how do you think, Kristine will say answer first. How do you think PCC can achieve racial diversity in our programs and enrollment? Please share your views on affirmative action. Do you support it? Why or why not?
The main solution that a trustee can do in reducing that socioeconomic gap and increase diversity is through high-quality dual enrollment programs. The dual enrollment law was passed in 2015. In South Pasadena and San Marino City, could have had dual enrollment 6 years ago, but it hasn't. It didn't get dual enrollment until last year, with 2 classes. In Temple City, 0. And in order to close that income gap, we need to bring more dual enrollment classes into the high school setting, because students that participate in dual enrollment also include vocational programs, and it helps gear towards students for high-quality vocational jobs instead of lower income vocational jobs. So maintaining and increasing high-quality dual enrollment is one of the key features of closing that.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. How do you think PCC can achieve racial diversity in our programs? Please share your views on affirmative action. Do you support it? Why or not?
Well, PCC is actually one of the most diverse community colleges in the country. And I do support affirmative action, and I will tell you, I don't equate affirmative action with quotas. And I think that sometimes that argument is used to drive a wedge in our communities and create us against them. Affirmative action is consistent with the meritocracy system, and it really encourages us to elevate qualified candidates who represent our communities. Because of affirmative action, we now see more qualified people at the table to represent our communities. Diversity in our population requires that we have representation at the college that reflect the same representation of our communities we serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kristine. Can you explain why PCC was audited in the past? What were the findings? What will you do in the future to address this?
I was shocked to find out that a few years ago, PCC was placed on probation, and the only reason why it was placed on probation is due to improper board governance and coordination. So one of the ways you increase and prevent being placed on probation again is number one, changing the effectiveness of the board and increasing the board so it's no longer dysfunctional. One of the key reasons why I was placed on probation is a violation of their own code of ethics of not comporting itself with the highest ethical standards, and they are still engaging the same conduct. In fact, within the last 7 years, the faculty have issued 4 votes of no confidence. And the basis for the vote is due to the leadership's inability to operate with the highest ethical standards. I am offering a new kind of leadership, one that's based on trust, one that's based on professionalism and good ethics, and one that is based on shared governance.
So 7 years ago, PCC did receive notice and placed on probation. The board immediately acted to cure and correct.
You tell me about it, Kristine? There's some people have to, there's talking to me.
7 years ago, PCC was placed on probation, and the board acted immediately to cure and correct. Within 6 months, it was taken off of probation. It was not because of any board issues, it was because the faculty had issues about signing the report. Once that was corrected, we were taken off of probation, and we were then moved into warning, and we worked with the faculty to then correct all of the issues, which were basically reporting issues. The board then placed a trustee on the PCC accreditation committee to review all of the issues from there. For 7 years, since I've been on the board, PCC has received reaffirmation every year. And last year, PCC received a 7-year reaffirmation given only to the highest functioning colleges. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next question, what steps will you take to ensure PCC remains accessible and affordable to all students?
One of the key issues is this.
It's for Linda. She's good because I need to rotate.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What steps will you take to ensure PCC remains accessible and affordable to all students?
So affordability is high on my priority list. I believe college needs to be accessible and affordable so that everyone, all of our communities can access education, college education, and be successful in their careers. That's one of the reasons I served on the statewide task force for financial aid before. It's also one of the reasons I worked with the Chancellor's office to reduce college debt for our students. PCC is one of the strongest colleges in our area. We offer universal transit pass. We have a 2-year college promise, which offers 2 years free college to our students. We also have the largest digital textbook library in the area, which means we save our students almost $3.5 million. So there's many ways in which students can have their debt reduced and make this more accessible. We need to also deliver education in the mode in which the students find most comfortable for them. That means both in person and virtual.
Thank you.
One of the ways that we make college accessible is a few ways. Number one, I'm going to advocate, in addition to debt forgiveness, but making college accessible to everyone. Full-time working students, students with parents, students with children, and to operate the same level of courses so students have opportunities. Right now, because they're working full-time, they might not have access to a college education. And PCC is affordable, and there's already a lot of financial aid programs However, it's the accessibility to the curriculum and courses. What I'm going to advocate for is that we accommodate the full-time working schedules of students and students with children to offer classes in the evening, on Saturdays, on weekends, in the morning, and after normal business working hours, and to provide support services so they can graduate in a timely fashion.
Thank you. Now, Kristine, there have been numerous protests and votes of no confidence in PCC administration. What can be done to heal relations with students, faculty, and the administration?
One of my primary campaign platforms is to improve the academic climate. And this is because student success is closely tethered to the ability of the Board of Trustees and faculty and the administration to work together. And even though they have been protesting, what it shows you is that in the last 7 years, the faculty have issued 4 votes of no confidence in their leadership, including the Board of Trustees and everybody that is sitting on this board. We need to mend that relationship. When this tripartite relationship is broken, it affects the delivery of instruction. And I want to mend that. And I want to create a new relationship, one that's based on trust, one that's based on respect. And together, we need to focus on excellent delivery of instruction.
Thank you.
And I think you just need to look at the facts. The votes of no confidence have not come to this board for probably 6 years. This is the first vote of no confidence.
What's on the list? Is this something you want to hearing? Is it this thing?
It's the door opening that project.
Okay, the vote of no confidence. This vote of no confidence, which just came yesterday, is the first that I've seen in probably 6 or 7 years. So this vote of no confidence stemmed from disagreements with the faculty union on returning to in-person classes. And although 2 student surveys indicate that students want to return in person, the board approved additional health and financial incentives to return, which is agreed upon by the union and their members. And although agreeing to return, we received financial incentives, some members of the union chose to file this action. As a trustee, it is important that I be guided by data and what is in the best interest of students and their success. I believe the PCC board took the necessary health measures to ensure safe return. And unfortunately, this vote of no confidence in the president was passed yesterday. But it's an opportunity for Dr. Andrew-Jonas to find ways to open the dialogue and communicate with faculty.
Thank you. Linda, what has been done to help veterans at PCC?
I'm really proud to say that PCC has the #1 Veterans Resource Center in the state. I was one of the advocates for the Veterans Resource Center, and that includes wraparound services for the 800 veterans without 2,000 dependents and their families to help them get the education they need. In addition, I worked with Congressman Chu to bring medical services nearby for veterans. They were formerly traveling almost 20 miles to get to Westwood and to get to Long Beach for their medical services and had to miss classes. Now they can just go down to Arcadia, medical services available to them. And this has helped them complete and succeed their education goals.
Thank you. Kristine?
I believe our ability to support veterans is about providing services and making education accessible. So part of it is offering hybrid modalities in terms of instruction, whether it's in person, remote, by Zoom, or it's a combination of both with special services provided by faculty. It could include including more part-time office hours for part-time faculty to help support our veterans, and also serving as a liaison to make different connections with our outside federal and state agencies to serve them and to connect them to all these different agencies to provide the services that they need in order to give them access to the curriculum and to provide the support that they need to get that college.
Thank you. Kristine, do students have access to online texts And what has been done to improve this?
Yes, students do have access to online textbooks and digital textbooks, but the issue is they're having problems with internet access. I have spoken to many voters, and one of the key issues right now is that the internet outside of the library, in some parts of the library, is inaccessible and it's not strong. And the only way that they can have access to digital resources is through the internet. And getting a hotspot, not every student can afford to purchase a hotspot and pay that monthly subscription. And so we need to focus on building our infrastructure and keeping it strong so the students have the digital access in order to do their work and to do their research. And I'm committed to focusing on building a stronger infrastructure, including stronger Wi-Fi access throughout the entire PCC campus. Students have complained to me that they can't have Wi-Fi access outside. So if they're not in the library, there are certain parts of the library that they can have access to Wi-Fi. So we need to build a strong infrastructure because this in itself is a way of closing a socioeconomic.
Thank you. Okay, Kristine?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
As I mentioned, PCC has one of the largest digital textbook libraries. So this means that many of our classes, the students do not have to pay $400 or $500 to get a textbook. To save their students almost $3.5 million in textbook costs. Yes, there are digital deserts, and luckily, we have given all of our students hotspot cards, which they do not have to pay for. So they are, I believe, has strengthened our network, and the students have been able to get the access they need. Thank you.
How do you deal with faculty discontent and conflict?
Well, I think from the vote of no confidence, you can see that there is discontent and conflict, and that will always occur. I'm not always agree on everything. But as I said, my focus and I believe the duty of the trustees is to ensure that we are providing students the success that they need so that we are listening to their voice also. So I do also believe that there needs to be dialogue and there needs to be communication. And we have encouraged that. I know our president has set up monthly meetings where she has open forums for faculty to come in and speak to her. And so I'm hoping that this will resolve some of those issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristine?
It's quite apparent through the 4 votes of no confidence in the last 7 years. And this current president has been in office since 2019. And there's a current no confidence vote that just was issued yesterday, and it's against the board leadership, and it's based on its violation of its own code of ethics. And what this tells you is that there is a pattern of the last 7 years of the inability of the leadership to work in a collegial manner. And you can look at this pattern, which shows you there is an tension. And the success of the student depends on the good, conducive academic climate of the faculty. What we need to do is engage in shared governance, where we take their opinions into consideration. Our faculty are the boots on the ground. They are the ones that are teaching the students, and they know what the students need to succeed. And it's important that all 3 stakeholders, board, administration, and faculty, to work in a collegial manner with one focus in mind: delivering exceptional education.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Question. I think it was the one how you deal with faculty discontent. What is your position on your? Can you help me? Did you answer the same question? Okay, Kristine, what is your position on the reduction of staff of the ESL program and discontinuation of the graphics workforce program?
The issue with the discontinuation of graphic workforce in the ESL program all goes back to what are we doing to service the students, and what is it that the students need? And that goes back to improving the academic climate. These programs were discontinued without consultation with faculty. And as I indicated, the faculty ones that are educating our students. They know what it takes for that student to learn, to comprehend, and to progress. And before we discontinue the programs, it is important that we engage in shared governance. Shared governance is part of the code of ethics of Pasadena City College, and we have to conform with that standard. Because when you work together, you can come up with solutions that offer the best options and the best way of solving these issues. And really what the focus is, having students graduate on time with a vocational degree or transfer to a four-year college.
Thank you.
So once again, I say, look at the facts. ESL is being reduced because there is state law that now requires that students be placed not in remedial education, placed at the level from which they graduate from high school or by examination or at their own tutorial request. So that is, and the discontinuation of any courses is within the purview of the faculty. It's not the board who discontinues these things. To the graphics issue, we just had a long presentation by the board, and the faculty have been notified and been on notice. They've given notice to those faculty and graphic arts for over 3 years to change the coursework so that they can come up, they can get the enrollment they need. And that's not done, and that's the reason there's discontinuation.
Thank you. Linda, can you speak to PCC success in matriculating students to four-year colleges? And what work can should be done to help graduates find jobs?
So PCC has one of the highest transfer rates into four-year colleges. We have the highest associate degree transfers. Our students transfer to very highly academic colleges like USC, UCLA, Yale, many other colleges, Berkeley. So the other thing that I had as a priority to implement is that we need to connect education to the workforce. And that's why I served on the statewide workforce task force with the Chancellor's office. And I work with industries across the state to make sure that the curriculum change quickly to meet industry needs.
One of the key issues here is two things. Number one, it is taking a PCC student an average of 6 years to obtain a 2-year college degree. And the actual rate for associate transfer degrees hovers between 4 to 7%. And we need to work harder to make sure students graduate on time and to increase that transfer rate. That rate is way too low. And this is what I'm going to offer to do. In addition to offer flexibility in course requirements and the ability to take them to different places, I'm going to advocate that we actively track students upon matriculation. And we're going to make sure that they are on progress to graduate in 2 years and they're taking the right core classes to either transfer or get a vocational degree. And if they're not on track, let's put together a multidisciplinary team of academic counselors, social service counselors, and technical counselors, vocational counselors. Let's do an individualized assessment to see why they're not on track. Put together an individual program and support services that they need to graduate and transfer.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can we get a yes or no question from Kristine on affirmative action? She didn't answer the question.
And can you use the mic?
Yes or no?
I think the issue with affirmative action.
Yes,
is,
or no, Kristine, the question.
Or not?
Yes, or no.
Stop. Thank you. Stop. One of the other things you can do is talk to the candidates after this, or I can try to look back to the question and read the question. Yeah.
To read the question.
I'm gonna try to find it. Okay, here's the question. I'm going to both the yes. I'm going to the candidates to answer it. And first, Kristine, how do you think PCC can achieve racial diversity in our programs and enrollment? Please share your views on affirmative action. Do you support it? Why or why not?
Achieving racial diversity and closing the socioeconomic gap is about providing quality education and producing and giving a pathway for college. The number one and easiest way of doing that is increasing high quality enrollment in our classes. The dual enrollment law was passed in 2015, and South Pasadena and San Marino did not have dual enrollment until last year. We could have had it 6 years ago, and we could have captured a lower socioeconomic group targeted for vocational programs or higher education. Temple City does not even have any dual enrollment. 30% of their students go to community colleges. I'm going to advocate to increase dual enrollment that should have been implemented 6 years ago. There is no need for quotas. It is about providing opportunities to close that socioeconomic gap. It is about providing the support services. I am advocating for a multidisciplinary support team to track students as soon as they matriculate and to do an assessment. If they're not graduating in time, we need to intervene and provide the support services that they need.
How would you vote?
No, I can't do that. You can yes or no.
Would you vote yes or no?
Excuse me. You can write your question. It's not another question. You could write your question on this paper. Okay, let's try this. And if you'd like another piece of paper to ask another question, please. Would you get another piece of paper? I don't know, there were 3 or 4 people who wanted to have a question again. Would you raise your hand? No, no. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everyone. We really appreciate the passion in the room. I think it's awesome that you guys have lots of thoughts. But please be respectful of everyone in the room and the candidates, the legal women voters, and SPCC. Hold those comments after this. There'll be the opportunity to talk to candidates individually outside, as long as they're available. That you want you to have a great place to be now. If you're really that passionate, we're gonna have to ask you to leave just to respect everyone else in the room, okay? Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you just helping us out. We're not shouting things out, so just so we can have a respectful debate. Thank you, everyone.
It's almost 7. So we have a question here, and we left off.
Which question?
No, it's a good question. Can you speak to the reasons behind declining student enrollment in PCC? I can throw it over there. So, I'm trying to think. Do we have some answers? Sure. Yeah, okay. So, the question then first goes to Linda, and the question is, affirmative action, yes or no?
Yes.
And Kristine? No quotas should be any systematic part of any program. So if affirmative action has quotas, that is not a system that I believe is the best way of closing the socioeconomic gap. It's about creating educational opportunities and opening the pathway and intervening at the local high school level and fixing the board dysfunction and having the faculty work in a collegial manner with the board of trustees and to fix that broken relationship. That's how we close the socioeconomic gap and increase racial diversity.
Yes, okay. I think that this is going to have to be the last question to start. Let's use this. Please speak to the issue of the board's role in student success and how PCC can ensure success in transfer levels and application.
The first thing we need to do is have a strong policy of setting a goal for all PCC students to graduate on time in 2 years. Currently, it takes 6 years to graduate for a 2-year degree, and many students don't graduate. So if you want success and to graduate on time to transfer to a college, I advocate to create a multidisciplinary support team for students and to track them as soon as they enroll. And if they're not passing and if they're not on track, to intervene immediately and to do an individual assessment and to provide the support services that they need in order to graduate and to succeed in their individual courses.
And then,
Yeah.
it says, please speak to the issue of board's role in student success and how PCC can ensure success in transfer level math and English.
The board has a goal for student success, both for itself as well as for the president. So in math and English, one of the things that was 8705, which now requires that students be placed in college level math and English. So this eliminates them having to take remedial work if they don't need it, and they can immediately begin college. We find that this has increased persistence and success in students. The actual number it takes for students to graduate is roughly 4 years. We're trying to get it down to 3 years. We do that by getting them to guiding pathways, to get concierge service, to get their classes on time and on schedule.
Thank you very much. We're going to close down the questions now, and we'd like to the candidates to make their closing statement. And so let's see here. Kristine, you make your closing statement first.
Thank you very much for this opportunity this evening. One of the issues is when we want our students to succeed, we have to keep the institution strong. And for years, this board has been operating in a dysfunctional and ineffective manner. And one of the first things we need to do is provide good governance. I want to use my experience as an education attorney for the last 30 years to provide a more professional level of governance that's based on good ethics and shared governance. We need to improve the academic climate so that the three stakeholders at PCC work well together with the focus on delivering exceptional education so that we can close that socioeconomic gap. One of the easiest ways that a board trustee can act in terms of closing that socioeconomic gap is being a good advocate for our local high school districts, going back to the high school and expanding and advocating for high quality programs, which you could have had 6 years ago. So let's work on expanding these programs for our local high schools.
So I'm proud of the success of PCC during my tenure. We have been named among the top 10 community colleges in the nation. We have one of the highest transfer rates in California. We have a strong transfer rate to high quality colleges. We've accelerated college admission through dual enrollment, credit for prior learning. We have the #1 Veterans Resource Center in California. I have endorsements from educators, past PCC presidents, and the current and past PCC student leaders, as well as my fellow board members, who I consider to be high-functioning board members. PCC is shaping our communities and leadership by changing the lives of students in education. We need to make college accessible and affordable for all. Do not allow PCC's reputation and our student success snared by nature politics. A well-educated community is a thriving community that we can all build together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to be part of the forum. The link's voter service goal is to vote, inform, and involve electorate. We hope that this event has helped you to be better informed about your choices in this election. Now it is your turn to turn around and vote. Please make our democracy work by casting your ballot by mail or by polling place or clicking the drop box. Urge your family, friends, and neighbors to do the same. But before we shut down, I think we have some people to
One more time, say thank you for everyone in your attendance here, thank you for coming. And really quickly, I just want to introduce and welcome and acknowledge to our council members who are here, Councilmember Jeff Donovan and Councilwoman Schneider. Thank you guys for coming. What to allow candidates to speak before you guys have questions for them, we need to break down this area from the floor 8. So if you have questions, please talk to the candidates outside. Thank you guys.
Trustees